Again, it only works when you unmute the button. Okay. Welcome everyone to another edition of The Author Speaks. We're happy you're here with us today. As you know, this month is April is Poetry Month, and we have two amazing poets here who are going to entertain us, talk about their process, and give us a little taste of what it is that they do as poets. Before we start, we want to do a little housekeeping. My name is Renee Smith. I am the CEO and founder of Independent Authors Book Experience. We are a nonprofit organization, and we promote and empower independent authors through various workshops and events such as this one, with our mission being to promote literacy for all ages. So we use these are one of the ways that we promote literacy, and we promote our independent authors so that they can reach a wider audience in the community, locally, nationally, and internationally. Um, Upcoming events for the um, we have the Children's Book Festival, which is coming up on June 10th. It's a Saturday, and we have 40 authors and vendors, children's book authors and young adult authors who are going to be at the event. We are being sponsored by the Borough of Roselle, Scholastic, Staples. We're going to have yoga sessions for the children, author readings, arts and craft, you know what I mean? It's going to be a fun time for the children. They're going to be able to meet authors. They're going to be able to purchase their books. They're going to be able to get their books signed, and they can take pictures with the authors. So definitely bring the children out to this event. There's going to be a lot of activity, bouncy house, giveaways galore. So definitely bring the children out for that one. And then our premier event is our 10th annual Independent Authors Book Expo and our literary gala. So if you haven't, this is our 10th year. Yes, I did say 10. We've been hosting this event now for 10 years, and we're inviting you, if you're an author, to register to participate. And if you're a reader, definitely come out and support. We're going to have over 75, yes, 75 authors and vendors participating. That's our cap. So definitely reach out. We're partnering with Kane University to host this event. So we definitely want to see you there. And then for this year, in our celebration of our 10th year, we're hosting the IABX Literary Gala. And that is a way for authors to network and meet other individuals in the literary world. We're going to have people represented from libraries, um, the Library Association, other authors. So definitely come on out. Booksellers, definitely come on out and be a part of the Literary Gala. The tickets are on sale now at our website, www.iabx.org. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you the authors, the poets, the reason you're here. Our first poet is Mr. Zeus Cruz. He's a published author and poet right here from New Jersey, and he has created Olympian Multimedia to promote independent artists and authors with a platform to showcase their artistry. So, welcome, Zeus.
Hello there. How's everybody?
Excellent, excellent, Zeus. We're so happy to have you here tonight.
I'm
And
so happy to be here.
yes, yes. And we're gonna get to you, but we're gonna bring on the other author that we have and poet, and his name is Mr. Giftus John. Actually, you know what, Zeus? Before I get to Giftus, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I live in South Jersey, Cumberland County region, Millville specifically. Um, I'm happy to say that I had the privilege of publishing 8 books up
Oh,
to this point. Working on my ninth presently. Hopefully, it should be out by the summer.
okay.
Um, Also, too, with Olympian Multimedia, it was a business created initially to endorse me as a poet and to promote my poetry and my books, but it eventually bloomed and transitioned into creating a platform for different artists, including those of the literary world, who are looking a way to like manifest their projects, put their projects together, and then we kind of help them find avenues in which they can market and promote their work.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. So we're in the same business.
Yeah,
We're in the same
beautiful.
business.
It's just
Exactly.
great to network with different people. The way we can just branch out and just connect and just share ideas and just get the creative juices flowing.
Absolutely. That is wonderful. And it it's not a small community, but it's a small community. So any support that
Yeah.
you can get as an author and artist, it really helps. So thank you for what you're doing with Olympian Multimedia. All right, we're going on to our next um, poet, artist, photographer, writer. I'm reading his bio. Giftus John was born in St. Joseph, Dominica, in the West Indies. Giftus's talent in creative writing in Dominica first appeared when he won first place in the National Day Poetry and Short Story competitions in both categories in 1975. Okay, people,
Wow.
this guy has some experience here. His
Mm.
entries for I Am a Dominican, a poem, and Converted, a short story. And Giftus currently resides in Union, New Jersey. Welcome, Giftus.
Thank
Hey, how
you.
you doing, Giftus?
I feel like I need to have some
Hmm.
music going. "Ah."
It's all right. Thank you for having me on, and thanks for being on with Zeus. Uh, as you said,
Definitely.
I've been doing this thing for a long time, and been involved in the arts from a very young age, painting, writing. Now it's kind of consumed me full time,
Yeah.
and I spend a lot of my time right now
Hmm.
doing a lot of painting and trying to promote my books. So thanks for having me. And as you say, it's a situation where we are small yet we're big, and it's a matter of joining with each other and helping each other grow. Thanks again for
Absolutely.
having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for being here. Our program doesn't work without you, the author. So we appreciate you being a part of the show and, signing up. So we definitely want to thank you for that. So they're here to hear about your books. Tell us a little bit about your book. I don't know. Zeus, do you want to go? Tell us a little bit about what your book is. Well, we know it's poetry, but each book has a theme. So tell us a little about, why you wrote it, what's the book about.
Well, the book's entitled Mount Olympus Cometh, and being with my name Zeus. Anybody who really knows me knows I am a huge Greek mythology fan. So when it comes to my writing, I tend to try to incorporate as much as I can about mythology into the writing,
Okay.
but try to put it in a way where it's understandable
Hmm.
because not everybody's into mythology like that, and just all the different nuances and the different stories that come with it. Yes, it does. A large percentage of it does deal with poetry, but I do try to write short stories as
Okay.
well that people can relate to. I try
Okay.
not to make it overly complex. I definitely base a lot of it off my personal experiences. I
Hmm.
just always feel that as a writer, most people don't know you personally as a writer. So the best way for them to get an understanding of you as a person is to
Hmm.
be as honest as you can be. And what's
Right.
the best way you can be honest is just by relating your personal experiences.
Right. Right. And when you said Greek mythology, just kind of took me back because I really loved Greek mythology when I was in high school. So
Mm.
when you said that, it just connected in my head, Zeus and Olympian. It just like,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it just connected. That's awesome. That's great. Okay, I like that. I really do like that. Okay, Giftus, tell us a little bit about your book.
Mike, I've been writing for a long while, and I am sort of mixed artist, as I would say. I write poetry, I write fiction, I write nonfiction, and the Voices of Lamentation was my eighth published book, uh, a mixture of poetry, short stories, and one nonfiction. And my work is based more on life in the Caribbean or things that affect us as Black people.
Hmm.
and a bit sometimes rough on the edges, but I try to really portray what I, as an individual who grew up in the islands and who has lived in this country for almost 30 years, ha- has felt. And I try to use my poetry and my arts to basically do that. Um, I enjoy doing it, and that's why I still continue doing it.
Yes. And I'm gonna. This is a plug because if I'm this is this the book I wrote the forward for?
Yes, it is.
I was like, wait a when I saw the book pop up, I was like, wait a second, didn't I write the forward for that book? So I'm gonna do a plug for Giftus's book, The Voices of Lamentation. I did write the forward for that, so and I did enjoy reading that book. There the poems are very thought provoking, and so really appreciate you one for asking me for that because that is huge for me. So I thank you for that. And also being a Caribbean sister, I'm originally from Jamaica. So, I think every opportunity that we do get to share our Caribbean culture, we do that as best as we can. Because I think most people don't understand, they only see what they see as far as um, tourism and other, you get the negative from the islands but you
Yeah,
don't get the positive, and I think this is a way for us to share, you know
how we can do.
again, your experiences, like, both of you I think said the same thing, sharing your experiences, because someone sees you, they don't know you, you know um and I read recently, I was watching, I don't know if you've ever heard of the lady, she's 101, she just retired as a park ranger, and she used to write songs, and she said that there were things that she wanted to say and she couldn't say it, but it was easier for her to say in a song.
Yeah,
So all her songs, if you listen to it, it has what she wanted to say, what she couldn't say through her mouth, she said it
so,
in a song. Yeah, so I think what you guys said about experiences is very important. um and why, poetry, I know you've said you've written in nonfiction, but why poetry? Why that genre?
are you referring to me or just me?
Either one.
Uh, I, when I was, well, I started writing both poetry and short stories. I just kind of, at high school, I started writing and I found I could do both of them. We used to do English language, and sometimes the the images that we were given or the compositions we were supposed to write
Yeah.
gave you the ability to pick anything up and write about it.
Mm.
And I think I could do that, so I started doing that. And then I couldn't sing. Although I was in the church choir, I couldn't sing, so I couldn't really write. I had to write what I could sing, and
Yeah.
instead of writing what I could say, I started writing what I could speak.
Okay.
And my poetry evolved. Um, I started getting a lot of support from, because I was still at high school, from
Hmm.
people around the island. And again, when I was able to win the first place in the national poetry competition, I realized, well, you know what, I have what it took to do that. And from then, I have never stopped. It's like, that's what I
Wonderful.
love doing, so I keep on doing it. And I
Excellent.
think as you say, I feel I could express what I want from my poetry, from my short stories.
Hmm.
And even people don't hear me, at least they can read it. They may not understand it sometimes, but again, as people say, just like when you look at a painting, I will look at the painting and say one message. You
Hmm.
look at it, you see a different message.
Yeah.
So I just write and let people have their own meanings.
Yeah.
Um, it's left to the reader to decide what he understands from what is written.
Right. Absolutely. What about you, Zeus? Why for this book? Why this genre?
It's funny how Giftus was explaining his journey to becoming a poet because I'm kind of in a similar way. I actually started off doing music, writing music at a young
Okay.
age. I was part of a couple bands,
Oh.
and usually in my process, when I go ahead and write a song, I usually allow somebody else to read it and
Okay.
just give their interpretation, give some insight on what they like, what they don't like. And ironically, a lot of the stuff that I was writing, people were saying like, "Man, your stuff sounds like poems."
Mm.
Like, did you ever thought about getting into that realm of poetry and writing poems? And writing's always been easy for me. Up to that point, I was already writing several short stories that had gotten published
Oh, wonderful.
locally.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I just presented itself as another challenge for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just another genre to get myself into and see uh how I could go about it and see if I would like it. And
Yeah.
once I started doing poetry, I never looked back basically. You know,
Oh,
it's just a great way of just expressing yourself. I'm not the easiest person when it comes to expressing with other people, especially my thoughts and feelings on things.
right.
So it's just beautiful to just, when you start writing on a notebook, like some people get excited when they get, I don't know, something new.
Yeah.
Maybe they're a collector or maybe you get a new outfit or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I get excited just getting a new notebook and a pen. Because when I open up the notebook, it's almost like I visualize the words already in there before I even write them,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like take a life of its own after a while when I just start writing. So I find it that the book is not going to talk back to me. I'm not going to end up getting in an argument with them. It's not going to be offended by what I write, you know. So I can freely be myself and
Yes.
express myself. So um, poetry has definitely been therapeutic for me. Writing in general has, but
Mm-hmm.
specifically with poetry, I felt like I could better express myself
Okay.
versus me writing stories or essays or novels.
Okay. And we know that for a few people are joining. So if you're joining, just drop in the chat. Let us know what city and state you're in. And if you have a question for any of our authors and poets, please drop a comment and we'll ask it right here so they can know that you are here. And any questions that you have, just let them know. That's why we're here. Um, the other thing I want to know, where does your inspiration come from? When you I know Giftus, talked about the Caribbean, and Zeus, you talked about experiences, but um I know, like I said, usually when you have a particular project that you're working on, like you have a theme, what inspires you to say, okay, this is going to be my next book? What inspired you to write your what was the title again? Mount Olympus cometh.
Mount Olympus coming.
Yeah. What inspired you to write that book?
Um, it's pretty much the same with all my books. Um, a lot of the stuff that, like I mentioned before, it comes from personal experience. I tend not to use like real names or anything like that. I change certain aspects of it. But going back to what Giftus was saying earlier about, um, it's heavily metaphoric the
Mm,
way I write. So I try to express myself through my writing to allow the reader to come up with their own interpretations. Some things that I write, chatting with other people who have read my book, they kind of found a different meaning
mm,
that was opposite of what I was going for, but
okay.
it makes sense, and I try to write on topics that, again, are relevant, that people can be more in tune with and be more comfortable with, so that it can open up that dialogue with
Okay.
people,
Okay.
um so that we can talk about things that may not be so comfortable
Mm,
talking, but we can use this kind of platform to allow to express ourselves freely. And yeah, that's what I just basically just concentrate on that. As far as the process is going with writing, I tend
okay.
to just get myself motivated by just reading other authors and other poets, and I kind
Okay.
of take a little bit from what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
and kind of come up with my own thing.
Okay. What about you, Gifters, for this project?
I was just thinking as you were speaking to, um, in the Caribbean, when I was in primary school, every Friday afternoon, the class teachers would take us outside and make us recite all
Yes.
um, those English poems.
Yes.
You had to
Mm.
learn them by heart and then
Yes.
repeat them every day. And I think that's where my love for poetry started. And when I went to high school, then we had to be writing all those short English grammar compositions. And somehow I kind of morphed into doing all this together. And when I won the first place in poetry and short story competition on the whole island, and I realized, well, you know what? Is what I'm doing so good that I can outclass everybody? So I
Yeah.
kind of basically got into it. And as Zeus says, I am not crazy about everybody having my book.
Mm.
If one person reads my book and say, Giftus, you know what, I have a book and I enjoyed it, I'm good. I got a message from a friend who
Mm-hmm.
said to me that she read one of my books 3 times.
Wow. That no, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
That is a compliment.
She said, I read that book 3 times. I said, you did? She says, yes. So the thing is, if one person gets the message or is so happy about it, at least you're doing something good. You know
Right.
what I mean? Let's say if you can save one person out of a million, and that's rather than saving none, then you have achieved something.
Yeah.
So I just basically just, you know what, let the feeling comes in. Sometimes I'm just sitting at my table at home and something hits me and I pick up my pen and I just write and I just
Mm-hmm.
let it flow.
Yeah.
And I may be driving down the road and something comes to my mind. I come back and I sit at the desk and I write it. And again, I grew up in an island where there is so much around you: the water,
Mm-hmm.
the rivers, the seas, the trees, the flowers, and the way of life. There is no shortage of what you can write and how to express. If you can write short stories, you can write a poem, you can write a song. And I think that I've used that as my my playground. And
Mm-hmm.
even while I'm even here, I still write about life in the Caribbean because that's what I'm at. And
Yeah.
when I do my paintings, I still refer to what I see, even if it is imaginary, because that's what I see. I can go out into the comfort zone.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I stay to what I feel I can send out a better message. I don't want to be caught in a situation where I try to mimic something, but I am not.
Mm-hmm.
It's me. I get the juices flowing for it. And, you know, one of my biggest fans and critics is my daughter.
Yeah. Yes.
So usually, based on what she says to me, I know if I'm touching a nerve, either on the good side or the bad side.
Okay.
And I keep on doing it. I'm still doing it. I've been doing that from the time I was a teen, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop now.
Good, good. So we are here, and this is a special treat for our listeners. We do have a question here, and I'm going to pop it up on the screen really quickly. And Peggy Sue says, "What is Olympian multimedia?" Because maybe Peggy wasn't here earlier, so we'll let Peggy.
Well,
Zeus will tell you, Peggy,
mhm.
what's Olympian multimedia.
Well, Peggy, thank you for the question. Olympia Multimedia is a business that specializes in creating innovative media content for clients' social media and online platforms. And we also assist in strategizing um, ways to promote depending on what you're trying to do. You might be an entrepreneur that has a product that's in need of promoting. You might be an artist yourself, whether you are a writer or some form of musician, and you need to find a way to get your music or get your artistry out there. Whatever the case may be, we just kind of help design specific projects that can help you or put you in the best position to be promoted. And that involves photography in the form of photo shoots, video or film in the form of promo videos. We do music production, we do graphic design, and we also have consulting services as well. That also includes when it comes to literary, if you're looking to find where you need assistance in putting your manuscript together, or just a layout of your book, or you need a book cover, we help you in those regards as well.
Oh, Peggy's full of questions. So we're gonna do this real quick, but we want to get to the meat and potatoes of why we're here today, because this is special.
Okay.
So she says, Peggy asks, do you help set up podcasts?
Unfortunately, Peggy, it's ironic that you brought that question up because I'm actually in the works of doing a podcast through the Olympian Multimedia banner. Um, right now, I'm still working through the specifics myself, so we're not there yet as far as creating that. But if you do have your own business, Peggy, or you have some type of product that you're trying to get out there, we will be more than welcome to help you and assist you with that. Because we do everything: the films, the photos, designing of it, graphic design, digital design as well. It's not just promo videos, but we also do what we call visual videos,
Okay.
where we actually design and create our own different visuals. If you're
Oh,
looking for something a little bit more elaborate, and definitely help you get it posted online on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever your preference is, we can assist you with that. Um, if you, Peggy, if you are trying to get a podcast, Olympian would definitely support you and put that on our website. We definitely like to work with other businesses and other people and help them promote them as well. I know sometimes it's kind of hard putting up a website and they're just using their social media sites. We definitely have tools over here and platforms that can help with that as well if you're trying to promote yourself in that regard.
okay. So, Peggy, if you stay till the end, you will get Zeus's information for Olympian Media Multimedia, and you can find out where to contact him. You know, if you have any other questions or you need any other support, he's definitely there to help you. So we want to, this is a special treat because it's poetry month. We couldn't have our poets on here without actually having them, recite some of the poems that they have from their books. So we're going to start off with Giftus. Giftus, are you ready?
Yes, I'll pass it up.
All right, Giftus. Okay, so we're going to have Giftus recite his poem. You want to tell us what it is, Giftus?
It's called Footprints in the Sky.
All right. So
Yeah.
we're gonna just remove ourselves and have gift us the floor. Go ahead, gift us.
I see it everywhere I go, in my slip, on my pillow, even up there in the sky as I fly, amid the thick clouds way up high. I see it in the many reflections, even those of my transgressions, as I distort the truth amid my mistrust, reminding me of my cravings and lust. I hear it in the stillness of the night, as I twist and turn with fright. I am like a fearful child left alone, as his name echoes with my every mood. I hear it reverberating unceasingly, like a voice does in the distant valley. I hear it like the sound of a stuck horn, disturbing the peace and charm of dawn. Like the constant whistle of a speeding train, or the pain of a ceaseless migraine. I hear it like the roar of a racing plane, over and over again. Oh, oh, Bama, oh my God. I hear it screamed among the crowd. Oh, Bama, I hear it again in the darkened room and the falling rain. Like a stuck needle on a record player, It continues to spin similarly forever. This damn word is packed in my space, staring at me straight in the face. The masses still regard and revere something I yearn for day or night, no matter how sad or wrong or right. That's it.
Oh, wonderful. Snap, 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 snap. Very
That
good.
was incredible.
Good job,
Beautiful.
Giftus. Thank you. Thank you. Give us the title of that one again, Giftus.
Footprints in the sky.
Footprints in the sky. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Most
And
definitely.
you have to read between the lines to really get the message, I guess. So sometimes it
Yeah.
may be glaring enough, but
Things are open to interpretation. I don't know if Zeus, do you have any comments? I like to get people to comment on stuff, and I say it's a safe space. So
I think it's beautiful. It's very metaphoric. Kind of just reminds me of how I go into my writing as well, and just the way that you're able to just talk about your surroundings and speak so passionately about like where you came from and how much that means to you. Um, Sometimes when you read other people's stuff, and whether it's poems or stories or whatever, sometimes it's good. It's not to say the story's not good or the poem is not good, but it just doesn't feel like it really came from the heart. Like you don't really sense the passion in their words, and you're the complete opposite. It was very touching what you said.
yeah,
thanks, man.
yeah. Thank you so much, Giftus. And
Thank
we
you.
are going, we are rolling right along because I want to, and Peggy said, I just want to put this out there because I don't want to forget. Peggy says, thank you, Mr. Cruz, for your comments that you gave with regards to Olympia Media and the help that you can provide.
You're welcome, Peggy.
So the next thing we want to go to Zeus because we want to hear another poem. We
No,
heard
I'd rather hear Giftus. He can keep going if he wants.
No, it's a joint show, man. It's a joint show.
we are
No,
equal
I appreciate it. I
opportunity here.
appreciate it.
We everybody's gonna get their time to
Yeah,
shine.
it's a
So
joint show, bro.
Zeus, it's your time to shine. We want to hear what you have to say. So without further ado, we're gonna leave the floor to Zeus and let him introduce his poem and share his words with.
Okay, so the poem I'm going to read is entitled "Never Forgotten," and this poem was in dedication to my sister. Um, we actually just reunited after 20 years. So, being that this is Poetry Month, I thought it was apropos to go ahead and such a monumental occasion in my life, a moment in my life, to be reunited with my sister, that I go ahead and dedicate a poem to her. So, again, this is entitled Never Forgotten. We were both born into separation, yet we both acknowledge each other's recognition that we were blood. We both felt the connection, despite the link between us was not synced. Early on, we had a brief encounter. To someone else, it would be a memory not worthy to remember, but not me. For that memory was my reminder of how real our bond was and how much I held on to faith and hope that one day we could build upon the foundation that will become our happy home of reunion and love. It was then I saw the beauty of your light, your essence, still knowing your light shines even from a distance. I felt your sisterly glow as tears blurred your image on the picture. It was like looking at a mirror. I would hear the echo of you saying, "Hey, brother," and reciting to me your thoughts and passions. Even in my dreams, I would still hear your voice, me wandering in a world full of mazes in search of you. Our outlook looked bleak as the sands of time spoke of us being lost to each other forever. Yet we proved the hourglass wrong, for we now found our way back to each other. Whispers of doubt, rumors of hate swirled around in the atmosphere of a supposed disdain for you. That jealousy and animosity infested my heart because you had history with father and I didn't, even though it's irrelevant. For no matter what, we are of the same blood. Father, son, daughter, brother, sister. Are titles we will always live by and believe in. It's just gossipers creating a narrative that me and you would rather prefer division over addition, detachment over connection. Amazing how lies are interpreted as absolute truth. Amazing how ones play God and think they can see your mind's thoughts and think they can read your heart's emotions. I'm grateful, my dear sister. You ignored the fabrications and listened to higher reasoning. For now, this is my truth, my nonfiction. I never hated you. I yearn for you, to know you, share with you, protect you, love you as my sister, my best friend. To let you know you was never forgotten, but remembered as a beautiful memory that I will always cherish. The only hate, the only malice I have is that time did not allow us to have a past. But now I am so happy beyond belief that we are in each other's lives now, in the present, so we have a future together as a family, and that I vow to always be here for you, from beyond the reach of the shadows, and always support you with your future endeavors in your time of need. For I'm honored to be your brother, always and forever.
Deep,
That was very
deep,
nice.
deep,
Thank you.
deep,
That
Yeah,
was
it was definitely
deep.
an emotional time. The situation I was just present talking about just happened a little over a month ago.
wow.
Um, we haven't spoken to each other, haven't seen each other in 20 years. Unfortunately, we actually reunited over a pretty bad situation. My father was in the hospital. He suffered
Mm,
a stroke. Um, but the positive, you always try to find a positive in the negative. Um, just for my father, he's getting better. He's definitely getting better and he's
that's
recovering
good.
well. Um, but also just the silver lining in the situation is just to be reunited with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing. It was almost as if we never lost track or,
You never missed
we
the
were
beat,
always in
right?
touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the visit was short because she's in the military. So she had to go back. Um, but I will be seeing her in a few months. She'll be back. Um, but it's a beautiful thing, family, and
Yeah.
it's something
It
that
is.
you cannot take for granted at all.
Yeah. And this, as I say, in all things give thanks. Because out of the tragedy of your father being in the hospital and getting sick, you were able to reunite with your sister. So, for out of a negative became a positive. So,
Definitely,
that we're
definitely.
grateful. And I'm glad that your father is doing much better. So
Thank you.
there's positives all around.
Deep.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
As they say, pray, breathe it into the sky.
Yeah.
Breathe it out there.
Yeah. So that one was very heartfelt. And you know what? We have some amazing poets here. So I am not surprised by the quality of writing and poetry that I'm hearing right now. And I have tons of questions for you, but I feel like I want to keep going with the poetry. But let me just we want to talk about the process because there are people here who are on who want to know what does it take to make a what makes a good poet? What makes a poet a good poet? What do you think makes a poet a good poet? And that might be, sticking it, but let us hear your thoughts on that.
I just know with me, I get asked a lot because a lot of people have approached me about they want to get into writing, and even beyond with the writing, different people that come up to me that I work with just from the music field,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just trying to like find some kind of inspiration and whatnot. I've always say that your artistry should be based off your personality.
Hmm.
It should be based off who you are.
Okay.
At the end of the day, whatever art form that you get into, first and foremost, you do it for yourself.
Mm.
So if you get so consumed with what other people is going to say or what they think or how they're going to perceive your body of work,
Right.
you're going to have a hard time getting over the hump, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, if you could just stick to what you know, nobody knows you better than yourself. So why shy away from that? You know, you're
Right.
a beautiful person. Show that through your art. You know,
Mm-hmm.
show that through your writing. And believe me, over time, you're going to find ways to be creative. You don't have to necessarily have to talk about every little aspect of your life. Um, but just use some of that as fuel, motivation. And
Mm-hmm.
don't just stick to the good points either. Dial in on the bad points because we all been down that road. Not everything has been peachy, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, we all went through adversity. So again, like what you were mentioning, Renee, about turning a negative into a positive. You know, this is a situation where you can do that. You know,
Yeah.
whatever bad experiences you went to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you could kind of put that through your writing, and believe it or not, when somebody reads it, you might actually help them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
True.
I actually had people come up to me and it only had almost had me in tears because they read my work and
Mm-hmm.
were just so moved by it. They were just like, I felt like you wrote that just for me, you
Wow.
know. And I don't think sometimes people realize the power of words
Yeah.
and how it can really motivate and it can really touch their soul.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you could concentrate on that as you write
Yeah.
and just show your personality and just show the world who you are,
Yeah.
because in the end we all have our flaws, but we definitely have our good points. So show them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that very much. And we the IABX, we host a writers cafe, and it's for authors who are writers who are want working to publish their works, and just it's a community, a writing community. And one of the things we did, yes, on Monday, we meet on Mondays, we wrote acrostic poems that were each week we're working on a different style of poems or poetry. And we did acrostic poems on Monday, and I said, I want you to do it with your name. And the reason for doing your name, because a lot of the times we don't take the time to
Understand what I mean?
recognize ourselves. Like, who am I? Who is a person that is out there, and not what somebody else is saying, but what I believe I am or who I am. So writing a acrostic poem really helps you to tap into yourself. And you know people are like, oh yeah, I'm a good person, I'm nice, I'm elegant, you kind of like see yourself. So definitely, I definitely got that. And for you, Giftus, what do you think what makes a poet a good poet? I know you're nodding your head a couple times. What
Yeah, because I always tell people, um, if I can, and I said earlier, if I can make one person's day from reading a poem or one of my books, then I'll succeed in doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't target any specific group when I write. I write what comes from inside there. It
Mm-hmm.
is me expressing how I feel about what's around me. Because as I say, a picture can be interpreted in so many different ways.
Yes.
And so too is a poem. Because when you read a poem, you can paint it when you're done. When you read what you see, when you read what's on the paper, you can
Mm-hmm.
go in and get a pencil and sketch what you think you saw.
Yeah.
And I see it that same way. My poem that you will read will have a different meaning than what Zeus will think after he's read it. And that is not my job to write to satisfy only you. I read to satisfy the person who spends the money to read the book or who takes time to sit back and read the book. And I think that is, if you set out to write to please one person or one sector, you're going to defeat your own purpose because you will be limited into what you want to put on paper. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about it. I want to write. Let it flow. It comes, it goes. You know what I mean? So be it. And I think that because usually you listen to a song on the radio, it may be very simple, but then there is something about that song that makes it very, very popular. And you ask yourself, what is it?
Yeah.
There is something in that song that touches people. Whereas one that some people say, oh, this is a great song. After 2 months, you hardly hear anything about it. And I think that is what we as writers have to do. You write what comes from within, express it, and let it be meaningful to the people who read what you say. And that
Yeah.
is sometimes some of us write and we have double meanings. May as well be good because the meaning that one person has, another person has a different meaning. So it's always good to say what you want, and this guy's what you want the way you want it.
Yeah. And I think, I think it's across the board. I think when you write and you hear the expression, you speak your truth.
Yeah,
When you speak from the heart, when you write from the heart, people connect with that. I write children's books, and for me, I want to connect with the child.
right.
And I want, when I write, I have three things that I want to do. I want to entertain, inform, and inspire.
Yeah.
And that's how I write. Everything that I write in my stories for children, when I read it, if it doesn't hit those points, the book doesn't it's not done.
And you have to place yourself as a child
Yes, trying
because
to understand.
because if you write a bit above the child's level, it's like what was she writing for? Who is she writing this book? So
Yeah,
you have to take yourself down to a child's level.
exactly.
Think of what will make the child laugh or giggle or smile or turn a face and say, "Ooh, I don't like that book." You want the child to
You
enjoy it. So you become a child again.
Yeah, you have to you give them. And I write on things that because I write on different points, and I want them to get the meaning of what it is, and then I want to inspire them to make a change.
That's it.
So if when I'm writing, those are the points that I have in my head for my story that I'm writing, and those are the things I would like to be passed on to the child. Now, how they it manifests in their mind is different, but that is my intention when I write. So, and I write poetry because when I was growing up, I started writing poetry as a child. Because, as Giftus said, in the Caribbean, we have to recite and remember poems like all the time. We have to we're literally always performing.
Yeah.
I remember my mom always had me say, the 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 cow jumped over the moon, the little dog laughed, the sea set aside, and the dish ran away with the spoon. She had me perform that every time guests came to the
Yeah.
as a little child. The thing would just rotate in my head. And the poem that just came to my head, and this is something I'm gonna um the attic beams above my head, and I can only remember this part. And I ended up I did a whole thing on social media because I had to find the poem. Attic beams above my head, jerk jar jam, while giant engines boom like mad. For 2 days, that those words
Because it's stuck in your head.
stuck in my head, and I tried to find it. And I should have written it down because I ended up calling the National Society of Jamaica, the library.
Wow.
Find about it.
It was such a powerful poem for me growing up in high school. So and everybody who went through this to that same high school remembers the poem, but they don't know all the words.
What was it?
So I ended up calling the library in Kingston, Jamaica, to get a copy of the poem because the book was out of print. So anyways, so piggybacking off of that, what is your favorite poem and why?
Hmm.
That's a big question right there. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have one per se,
Mm-hmm.
a favorite one. I
What
just,
was
like I
your
said, I
favorite
try to
poem?
get as much inspiration as I can from, you know, what I read. So, but to hone in on a particular one, I can't
Yeah.
think of one offhand.
What about a favorite poet? Or you don't. It doesn't have to be one. What about one or two? or maybe somebody right now who, you kind of, when you go on social media and you kind of look for that person, you say, I really kind of like how this person, um I like their word flow, I like the way they recite, I like the poems. Is there anyone that you can think off the top of your head? You don't have to. I mean, it's just, because I there are times when, a certain style of poetry will resonate with you, whether you like, you like the free verse, or you like, the narrative poems, or, so is there any, and I should say, is there any style
Well,
that, resonates with you?
there is one that comes to mind. I actually worked on several different projects with her, and it was an honor to interview her. Um, her name, she's also a local from my area, at least down here in South Jersey. Her
Mm-hmm.
name is Darlene Durham, and she actually wrote a book called The Tin Can Life, and it was a great combination of short story. Well, it was basically almost like a biography
Okay.
mixed with the poetry. She would have certain excerpts and stanzas in there, of poetry in there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about her life and the things that she went through growing up onto adulthood.
Okay.
And what I got from that was just her brutal honesty.
Wow.
Sometimes as a writer, we tend to get maybe a little reserved because maybe we don't want to put too much out there for people to read and take in. But she definitely didn't hold back. And just by reading her work, it was so inspirational
Mm.
because of how she overcome a lot of obstacles in her
Okay.
life, and she's done great for herself. She's a beautiful person. Um, and it was just a joy working with her and interviewing her. But her work, it's called The Tin Can Life. Um, just a great body of work of the way she was able to express herself and just talk so honestly and vividly about
Mm-hmm.
her life. It was definitely inspirational.
And just from the title, I'd want to read the book. The Tin Can
Yeah,
Life just says a lot. You
and I
know,
mean it's straightforward. There's
yeah.
no, getting to the point. It's lagging. She definitely goes all in on the book. I definitely I recommend it as a must read if you get a
Okay.
chance to get
And I'm gonna drop that in the chat because, not only are we here to promote ourselves and, as authors, but, you always want to give some flowers to some people while they're here, and, I really appreciate you sharing that. Darlene Durham, you're in the chat. So Darlene, you're a poet and your book is called The Tin Can Life. I'm writing it here in the chat, so when somebody comes back and they look, they will see your name immortalized.
that. I appreciate it.
Giftus, do you have any, poet or person that you can, think of?
Okay, the I was as Zeus was speaking, I was just reflecting on my growing up. Um, Poetry in schools in the Caribbean, well, in Dominica, had some kind of a negative term to it. Because, like you said, most times it was only a thing that we did on a Friday afternoon, and it was like a punishment or whatever it is, and the whole kids had to stand and learn to read those 10, 12, 14 verse poems and and repeat everything. And sometimes we had to learn it by heart.
Yeah.
So as you grew up, you kind of detested writing poetry, detesting doing English. But then when you got into high school, you begin to realize, well, you know what, I had to do this thing again. But you just wanted to make sure you pass the exam and forget it. But somewhere along the line, as I said, with me, it's kind of, well, you know what, I couldn't sing, so I had to write. And and I think basically that's where poetry, right? I never really had any um, person I could emulate in the Caribbean, Dominica or the Caribbean. Guys like Walcott and the other guys, you hardly got the books. And if
Mm-hmm.
you wanted a copy of the book that they wrote, you had to go to the library, which was in the city. Sometimes you would listen to some guys read a poem on BBC. But again, poetry at this time was based on life in England. And it wasn't something that we, as you know, they give you all these poems about life in England and all this Shakespeare stuff and all that stuff. And when you got to high school, you realize, well, you know what? I have to become real. I can't be writing like those days. So you started doing your own branding.
Mm-hmm.
And still again, when you wrote poetry in Dominica at the time, it wasn't really something that people saw as being that important. But you persevered, and I think that's what it is. You just kept doing it. Not too many writers in Dominica have survived doing 2 or 3 books. It's a one and done deal.
Yeah.
But it takes so much too. Besides just writing, you have to have the means and the people and all that stuff. But I see it as just trying to be my unique self. As I say, I don't emulate anybody. Just write and let it come out.
Yeah.
Now and then I read somebody's book and enjoy it. I read a fellow Dominican's book.
Mm-hmm.
I get help from when I get help or I help others when they want to write, they call Giftus, what do I do? But I always tell people, be yourself. It is
Yeah.
what you want to get out there that's important. And I think that's basically it. It's if I were to do it all over again, maybe differently. But the thing is that at the point you are right now, you've built your own brand. You keep on going. But
Yeah.
it is always good to read somebody else's work, and it gives you a different perspective as to what is out there and how other people feel.
Yeah.
And it's like listening to a song. You sit there and you enjoy it. So it's just being unique, and as you said earlier, Zeus, it's what they. And I have no favorite poem because it's like that. I don't have a favorite child. You know, I mean, I don't have a favorite
Yeah.
child. If I do that, I'm in trouble. If I had a favorite poem, I would have written only one poem. But whatever I write is favorite because it comes from somewhere they put in. You
Yeah.
know, so
Okay.
that's what I
I
feel.
can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. But for me, I think because I'm like I said, I'm Jamaican, so we have Louise Bennett, and
Oh yeah,
she Louise Bennett Coverley,
yeah,
and she did she wrote in our dialect. Our dialect is
yeah,
Patois, and it is just it's rhythmic. It's everyone knows a Louise Bennett poem.
yeah.
Whether you are my age, younger, older, everybody knows a poem that
She
just
did.
speaks to you. She just she had a way with words, and when she performed it, it just really brought it to life to you
Yeah, she
because
was something special.
she was
Somebody special there.
special. Yes, I mean, if you ever get a chance to, her name is Louise Benny
Right.
Poverly, and it's in the dialect, but just listening to her, and that is one thing. Even if you don't like poetry, just listening to someone recite their own poems or something else, it just takes it to a different place. Like when I listen to you guys as you're saying I'm just kind of like, I'm like, okay, Renee, you're not here for that, you need to pay attention. you know
Mhm.
kind of get into my head, and so I really like poetry, and I think one of these days I am working on a poetry book, so it will be coming out one of these days. So I'm working on my poems because for me it's like you said, it's a matter of the feeling. So I don't push it. I don't force the words when it comes. I'm a children's book writer, but every now and again I get a feeling and I quickly pen it.
And
So
I think she was the mother of the spoken word because so many other. In fact, we have one very famous guy called Rasmo in Dominica who does poetry basically
mhm,
like her. There's
yeah,
spoken word, and she used to be. When you enjoy her and Paul Kins Douglas, you have those two on the stage.
yeah,
You get the love for the
yeah.
spoken word.
You would listen for days. I tell you.
Yes,
Every time I hear something pops up with her, I stop what I'm
yeah,
doing and I tune in. So,
that's true.
I'm going to. We're going to do one more because you guys are here. So I'm going to have you do one more poem for us. So Zeus, Do you want to take that last poem for us, and just share, because we're here and we want to really get some words in?
Okay. Just a quick thought, Renee,
Yes.
about the author I discussed, Darlene Durham. Her pen name is D Nobody. So for
Okay.
any viewers who are interested in getting her book, it's called A Tin Can's Life. It'll be under D
No.
dot Nobody.
Okay. Let me put. I'm
That's
gonna.
the yeah,
Yeah.
that's the pen name that she used. I
Right.
just wanted to clarify that real quick.
Okay. I'm putting that out there. So I'm gonna let you go, and you say do your.
All right. This second one that I'm going to read or recite for you guys is called Lost and Found. And again, this comes from a personal nature as well, as this is dedicated to my three stepkids. I hate using that word stepkids because I embraced them as my own. Um, but this is something that was dedicated to them. This is just my thoughts on being part of a family and creating a family with them. This is kind of like my thoughts while I was going through that. So again, it's called Lost and Found. In the beginning, our relationship was saturated with confusion, increasing the level of the problem and not searching for the solution. Conflict turned into distilled logic, causing a potential demise to our union. Made an executive decision to be with a woman with 3 children. This must be an illusion. I knew what I was getting into. So am I ready to concede to the idea that we reached our untimely conclusion? They looked to me to be a leader, but to others before me and resign, I started to become a follower. The heat from the tension is rising the temperature on the thermometer. Not practicing what I preach, but still mimicking a philosopher. The fact is, I was only used to taking care of my own daughter, but it's no excuse. But I will admit, nervousness has set in, for I thought I would falter. To not live up to the standard and kill the unity and be guilty of the slaughter, my mindset had to change one day at a time and continue farther to be something that they never had, and that is a father. For someone not known to demonstrate an abundance of affection, I am now in position to develop some kind of connection with 3 young minds in desperate need of direction. To be a man of my word and deliver, being to them some sort of father figure before they fall down the well to depression, had to get beyond my personal perception and see them as castaways of a parent's blood. So I empathize, for it's like I'm staring at myself. A learning curve for the both of us, a pass of judgment thrown, but I made the interception. My stubbornness, I kept a stranglehold, but truth be told, I opened my heart and a bond began to unfold. That we no longer have to travel down the lonely road, that they can see what true love is shown as I love and care for these kids as if they were my own, to be a part of their lives and watch them grow. And in so many words, let them know that this is not for show, that I'm here to protect them from harm and embrace the good life as they find comfort in my arms. I wanted the relationship to work at any cost, but because of a misunderstanding, I was ready to call it quits, and it would have been my loss. I was at war with myself, battling against my thoughts, running scared from responsibility. Any disagreement, I was at fault. I was lost within my feelings, and now I'm better within, for I found my new family, and so my life begins.
Very nice. Very nice. That is a tribute to the children. I don't know how old they are, if they can appreciate that, but that is a nice tribute.
Yeah, this one definitely hit the core because like I'm mentioning in there, I would just I'm divorced and I have a daughter with my ex. Um, I'm not the biggest like kid person, so just to be with somebody who had children was definitely a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. It's something that I had to get used to within myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just glad that I got over my insecurities because
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would have been missing out on a beautiful thing. We have a beautiful family here. The oldest is 22. The next oldest is 16. The youngest is 14. Um, and I've been with their mother for almost in September, it'll be 6 years.
Oh,
And it's been a beautiful journey together.
yeah.
We all grown together.
Mm-hmm.
We got the kids wasn't really big on me at first, but I'm definitely grateful that I grew on them,
Mm-hmm.
and then we turned into a beautiful family. I definitely don't take for granted the blessings.
Nice. Nice. You have any comments, Giftus?
No, I was just saying that poem was therapeutic, right?
Yeah.
Very,
It was,
you
yeah,
know,
it came from
definitely.
pain.
I try to write as much as from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing about me as a person. I'm a very straightforward person. You don't have to worry about what I think on something. I usually just already say
That's
it.
right.
So I try to have that same mindset when I go ahead and write. I try not to, quote unquote, beat around the bush. I like to just get straight to the point, and hopefully people, it resonate with people and they can, connect with it.
Yeah.
And something that some people don't understand is that that pen becomes a tool, a weapon, or an aid. And it's
Yeah.
how you use it on that paper that
Mm-hmm.
determines what you do to your own self.
Mm.
Because by using that pen, you are basically speaking to your own self
Mm.
by putting those words down and understanding, well, it's like the blood flowing from that pen. It's ink, really, but it's from your
Mhm.
hands and it's you to paper. So whatever you put on that paper, it's you. It's not anybody else. And that's the good thing about it. Because sometimes I write and after I've done what I've written, I sit back and I read, and it's like, I really wrote that, man. You know, the moment you write
Yeah,
it,
that's a good point.
it's flowing. It's just bleeding from you, and it's
Yeah.
coming through that pain, and it's just going on. And you look back, and it's like, wow, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's the beauty of what you write, because you
Yeah.
can write it, and unless you can accept what you write or identify with what you write, you're gonna have problems understanding how much you can reach out to people with
Yeah.
your own work.
And it will resonate with somebody. I know someone will read that poem and it will resonate with them,
They
you
will
know.
have the same message. Yep.
Yeah, because whether it's one child, two, three, whatever that number is, I'm sure someone has gone through the same walk that same path that you did, wondering, okay, can I do this? Should I do this? Why am I doing this? you know,
Yeah.
and then making
Mhm.
that turnaround, like, man, if I haven't done this, I don't know where I'd be. This is like the best decision I've ever made, type of thing. So I'm
Yeah,
sure you,
because when that lady told me that she read that book 3 times,
yeah,
I say there is something within that book that maybe touches deep inside, and she identified so well that
yeah,
she had to read it 3 times.
yeah.
I said, well, it's not free over 3 years; it's 3 times within a few months, but it had
Wow.
me going. And so
She just had to keep going, like,
going,
okay, I missed something, let me
I
go
gotta
back,
do it all over again.
so that I tell you is something. So
Yeah.
on that note, Mr. Giftus, we're gonna have you say your last poem for us. So
Okay,
we're gonna
okay.
let you take the stage.
Yeah,
Take the
take
stage.
a bow. And this one is called A Disappearing Dream. This is no longer a dream, but a nightmare. I want to scream, but I fear no one will hear. This is no longer a dream, as so many now live in fear. And as we look over the brim, all we see are warning flares. This is no longer a dream, but a failed and nastier fear. As your bribed lover screams, filled with rage, anger, and despair. This is no longer a dream of hope and success as we get pushed over the rim, even as we seek help and redress. This is no longer the dream we all believed in, but a nightmare as we scream, all because of the color of our skin. A dream distilled by a strange voice at our doors in the dark of night. Yet sadly, we are not given a choice. It is a dream now fraught with fright. While a hungry child stares in fright, and a mother's heart-wrenching screams pierce through the stillness of the night, interrupting our hopes and dreams. The dream continues to disappear, like the cloud covers the sun, and the betrayed people watch in fear, and the pained mother buries her son. The dream continues to fade away, and the nightmare leaves as a dark night continues into day, and the broken-hearted mother grieves. The dream quickly fades away as the nightmare continues. Amen.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was very thought provoking.
It was. It was. Wow.
I love you. I'm a little tongue tied myself. That was very visual with your words. Like I could really see it in my head as you were reciting your poem. That's an amazing gift to
Yes.
just be able to write in a way where you can instantly visualize that in your head
Yeah.
as you're reading something or if you're hearing something from somebody. So you definitely have a gift, Giftus.
Giftus. And I really like the wordplay because when I
Definitely,
read
yes.
the book, it has when I read the book, because you have this is Voices of Lamentations, and there was so much um
Pain.
you're reading, but you're getting another meaning at the same time. It's you're it on the surface is one thing, but if you just stop and think for half a second, you're like, wait a second, I got something else from that,
It's a tree of branches.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It something else keeps popping out, and the more you listen, you're like, "Ah, I get that. I get that.
Because as a Caribbean person too, Remy, I'm sure you understand the dream. There's
Yes,
so many different dreams that
yes,
we have, and when we get the dreams, then you're black and you understand what the issues are. You're
yeah,
not unemployed, so it's left to you based on what dream you've had
yeah.
to go through it. And usually all the dreams and the nightmares because you're there, and it's like,
You're going through it.
so
This
I
is
mean,
this is not what you anticipated. And
no,
I'm not. I don't know where you. I don't know if you were born and raised here, Zeus, but we're coming from the Caribbean. I've been here over 20 something years, and I did most of my schooling in Jamaica. I did my bachelor's there, and I came to the U.S. to do my master's degree. But I'm here for school, but then I stayed. I got married, had children. But you have a different perspective on life as a whether you're Caribbean coming here, moving to the United States, um, understanding what the dream is. And I didn't really have the dream, but I was here, and you kind of get pushed into it. And know, okay, am I what the experience is? So I could definitely identify with the poem on a different level as far as what that dream is and how the dream, what it looked like for other people from the Caribbean. So definitely. Good point. But again, we have so many. I have so many questions for you guys, but we're at our time where we actually went over. But I really wanted you to do the poems because I think as poets, that's why we're here. We want to hear your words, and we do want people to go out and buy the book. But before you do, I wanted to ask you, and this I always ask: One thing, what's the best advice you would give someone about writing poetry? One tip. What's your best advice?
I personally would say, if you want to write, write. Um, but before you write, know exactly what you want to do with writing. Because it makes no sense writing and keep it hidden. If that's what you want to do, so you can read all the time, okay. But if it's something that you want the world to understand, or if there's one person you can help who reads your work, do it. Because that's why you write most times, that somebody else will benefit from what you do. And don't think of, well, is anybody going to understand it? There are millions of people out there. At least one person will pick up your book and say, you know what? I have a copy of your book and I enjoyed it so much. That
Yeah.
one person saying that will supersede the 300 plus who will say, man, that wasn't good. That
Yeah.
was one person. Because that one person saying you were good will give you the drive to do it again
To do
and
it
make it
again and
better.
again. Yeah. What about you, Zeus? What's your best advice?
I just try to tell people, don't be afraid to fail.
Mm.
You're not going to get it on the first try.
Mhm.
I know several of my books. I probably rewritten them probably about 5 or 6 times before I came to the final manuscript.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could get discouraging because you kind of like, so to speak, want to knock that home run right off the first bat. You want
Mhm.
everything to kind of be perfect and everything is just lining up accordingly, but it doesn't work that way. I kind of go by this quote. Supposedly Thomas Edison, it took him 1,001 times to create the light bulb. So when he discussed with someone that, do you feel like you were a failure because it took you that long to invent that? He said, no, I just found 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when we fail, it's such it's stained with negativity, where people
Mhm.
make it to be so negative, and it's not. You
Yeah.
just found just a way that didn't work. Get yourself together,
Hmm.
get back up, and find a new way to do it.
Yeah.
And eventually, as long as you have patience and most importantly, the passion, you're not going to go very far without passion.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
passion is the fuel that you need to get to the point of determination.
Hmm.
Like what Giftus is saying. If you are determined to be a writer and that's what you want to do, then stop making excuses for yourself.
Yeah.
At some point in time, just start small and then just progressively get better.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm not going to say I'm the greatest writer that ever walked the earth. I'm still learning myself. So, just don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
If you don't get it the first 200, 300 times, it's fine. That's the beauty of life. It allows you to redeem yourself
Hmm.
and start over.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And one thing I like to tell people is trust the process. You know, people think I always say your first draft is just that, your first
The
draft.
first draft.
People think I wrote it, and I hear so many people, authors who have written books, and they're like, I wrote this great book, and I sent my book to the news agency. I've sent it to this place and that, and nobody called me back, and I'm done with this. And I'm like, that's not you. Is that why you wrote the book? You instantly thought you were going to get national fame.
Mhm.
That's not going to happen like
It's a
that. you
process.
know it's a process. You have to trust the process, and it's going to take you. There's that very few people, and even the ones that are popular, the lady who wrote the series that's now the book, and she has like four of those books, and then she has the movie, and um it's fantasy. Oh my gosh, I can't remember it. I can see the movie now with the kids, the wizards.
Obviously,
Um,
was
Oh, you talking about J.K. Rowling?
J.K.
Rolling,
Rowling.
rolling. Oh,
She had so many negative letters or no's. If she had followed any of those, she would not be where she is now. She has sold millions of those books. So I say that to say, trust the process.
and many
And
writers go through the same process too.
huh?
Many writers have gone through that same process where
Yes, the
they've
same
been
process.
knocked down.
She hit it, and she's where she is. But again, if she had said no after the second or third, I think she had like 35 no's before she got to where she was. I may get that number wrong, but my point is that she got a lot of no's. And now she's where she is. So, and even if you don't get to where she is, at least keep going. You know, you're doing it when you do it from here, you will always want to do it because you're not doing it for the outside world. You're doing it from here, you know? So I want to say that. So my last thing is, do you use pen and paper or the computer? When you're writing your poems, do you use pen and paper or do you go to the computer?
No, pen and paper. I
Pen and
start
paper?
off the old way. I put it down on the paper, and I do three, four, five, as many times I go over it, write it once, pack it away, come back to it another time, and then I will say it on the computer, and then I will print it out and go through it, give it to my wife and my daughter, and say, "Look, check this out. What do you think?" Get
Yeah,
some feedback, and
yeah.
then go back and let it. Sometimes I tell people, let it sit there and let it,
Yes. Yes.
ripen up, and then
I
come.
said let it breathe.
None of my books have I written and say that's it. I have
Yeah.
gone through
Several.
several copies of it and reprints and retypes and stuff. And then finally I say, okay, let me get it to somebody. I send my work out to friends and say, read, here's what I'm putting together. Can you read and give me some feedback?
Yeah.
And based on what you tell me, take everything back together, go through it, send another copy out. And before I send it to you for your um, little bit on there, I've gone through 4 or 5 different people who read and told me what they
Yeah.
think. Because you need to get people's feedback
Feedback. Yeah,
before you get to
absolutely.
the book.
Because that's how you're going to. I know with my children's book, my first children's book, all I did, I wrote the story, and I just sent it to my friend. I said, "Read this." I didn't tell her what it was. I just said, "Read it," and she said, "Oh, this is good." But why didn't they ask? And why didn't I said, "Oh, okay, that's a good point." And I sent it. I had my kids read it. I had my husband read it. Everybody reads the book, and everybody gives me their 2 cents. And I start to massage a story. And I tell people, don't just write in and just be quick to print. Just be,
No,
just rush into print. I got to get it done by June. I got it done July. They have this hard date in their head, and the story is not ready.
it's
I
already.
say if you write your story and then you have to rewrite it again after you're done, after you're published, then you didn't do the time before
You
because you
can
have to
put
do
the
that
dough in
time
the
before.
oven until it's risen.
Yeah, let it sit, let it marinate. Just
Yep,
give it a minute.
that's true.
So,
Mhm.
what about you, Zeus? Pen and paper or the computer?
I'm the same way. It's nothing like writing on using a pen, writing in a pad.
Yeah.
Usually, when you see me, I have a notebook with me at all times. I do keep the Notepad app on my phone just
Hmm.
to jot down concepts, like maybe like the title, jot down like some ideas as far as how I want to formulate the poem.
Hmm.
But actually writing it out, yeah, it is. It's not better than
A
a
pen and
notebook.
paper. Yeah, that's me. I'm a pen and paper, and then I'll go to the computer. If you see my notebook, it has all these arrows and stars and all kinds of crosses because I'm connecting the thought to this one and all over the place. So definitely. All right, so we're at the end. So, but we want to let people know where they can find you. So take it away, Zeus. Where can they find you?
Definitely check out the website at www.olympianmultimedia.info. Definitely got all kinds of different content on there to check out if you're interested in working with us, and we definitely would welcome that. We're always eager to work on a project. Um, the social media platforms, we do have a YouTube channel, so definitely check it out. Definitely all kinds of content there. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram as well. Um, as far as finding the books are available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and Goodreads.com. But if you prefer, you can also come to the website as well. Again, it's www.olympianmultimedia.info, and we'll definitely send you a copy.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Zeus. And then Giftus, can you tell us where we can get your book, Voices of Lamentation?
Yeah, books are available from Amazon.com. And I also have copies for those who would like to have their own um, personal copies from the author, um, with my John Hancock in there. And I'm on Facebook
Mhm.
at giftus.john. And you can also check I don't say my website, gjartsandphoto.com. And if you want to reach out to me, GJAds and photo at msn.com. So just, drop me a note, say hello, whatever it is, and let's rock.
Yes. And what we'll do too is that we'll put up the author's note cards. We'll try to put them up on our website so you'll have access to them. And we also, if you go to our Facebook page, the flyers are there, their information is there. I think if not, we'll put the note cards up so you can find the authors and the poets. And the poem that I was talking about, it's called God in a Hurricane by Nellie Olson. Nellie Francis Ackerman Olson from 1956. One of my favorite poems. God in a Hurricane. If you can find it, it was a book. The poem was printed in the book Pondered Poems by the Jamaican. She was actually, I think she was a missionary who came to Jamaica, and she was in the countryside. And she lived in, I guess, we have the roof and the sound of the rain beating down. And I tell you, every time I hear the wind and the rain and the trees, that poem comes to my head. I start reciting the poem, like it just miraculously just pops in my head, and it's just a particular, it jerks, jar, jam, the movement. I'm getting goosebumps. That's my favorite poem.
Yeah, these are the days where you had to have roofs with no ceiling or anything, wide open galv.
And then you hear we used to do several students. We all learned the poem in school. So it's almost like a choir, and you have the jerk, the jar, the jam, and everybody's just like pounding the words, and you just feel the intensity of the poem.
God in a Hurricane.
Yeah. So God in a Hurricane by Nellie Olson, 1956, Pondered Poems, Jamaican. It was printed by the library. But anyways, thank you so much, Zeus Cruz. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you being here with us and sharing your poetry and just being so open and honest about the process and your work, and just sharing that with us. We have my Mount Olympus cometh. Got that right?
Right. Got it right.
Voices of Lamentations. You have to get these books from these authors. They're amazing. All right. Thank you so much. Take care, be well, and you just want to do some last PSAs before we go. Our website is www.iabx.org. If you want to participate and be an author or present on one of the Author Speaks, definitely check out our website. And then our upcoming events that we have really quickly is our IABX Children's Book Festival. Bring the kids. It's going to be amazing. We have over 40 authors and vendors. Last but not least, we have our Independent Authors Book Expo and Literary Gala. You don't want to miss any of those. And please, you just visit our website to learn more about what we're doing and all the services that we offer. We just redid our website, so we have a lot of new and improved just for you. So thank you again, gentlemen. And
thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, and we appreciate you. And please don't be strangers. When you write your next book, come back to the Author Speaks and let us know about it.
All right.
You're going to be the first stop.
Woohoo! Love it. Love it. Congratulations again.
All the best, Zeus.
You too. Nice meeting you, Giftus.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. I'm going to play us out with some more PSAs.
Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Smith. I am the CEO and founder of Independent Authors Book Experience, and I'm here to invite you to the 10th annual Independent Authors Book Expo. Yes, I said 10. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary in 2023. We're so excited. We are inviting you, if you're an author, a vendor, an illustrator, an editor, you want to sign up, register early. The spots are going fast. Register at www.iabx.org. And if you're an attendee, you want to visit us also at iabx.org just to see who is going to be here. It's going to be amazing. See you there.
Okay, I could watch that video all the time. I just love it. I like music. I'm a music person.
Nice.
All right, again, thank you, everybody.
All right.
Have a good night. Take care, guys, and be well.
Thanks. You. Same here.
You too.
All the best. All right. Thank you.